Well, we're still in St. George for the Color Country Model Railroad Club's open house.
That's always fun.
We come every year, or whenever we can. But
Right.
come every year. It's in November.
Right, we try our best, weather permitting.
And today we're looking at the Garden Railroad of Dick and Laurie Saunders, which is very inspirational to us.
Oh, yes.
Well, in fact, the way they've done this is sort of been the inspiration for our railroad.
Right, anything but down on ground level.
Well, we made it through another year. We made it through all the political commercials. Yay! And we've got a couple of new buildings on the layout. We've got an assay office that we've added. And because our town was in need of a tobacconist, we have a Redmond tobacco shop with a scale cigar Indian on the front porch. We added the steam donkey with a crane. And we rebuilt the water tower that used to be I think it was a Pola model. But after 8 years, the plastic really started looking like plastic. So now it's all wood, all redwood. And there's a few other things along the way, but those are the main highlights.
Now this is actually a 129th scale standard gauge locomotive, but the railroad is principally, for the most part, you'd have to say like a 1/20th scale narrow gauge railroad. But you know, when you put a 29th scale standard gauge engine in with the narrow gauge engines, they're about the same size and they don't look bad together at all. Now, one of the things they've done here, the most inspirational thing for me, and it's something we talked about on the Tuesday show, is if you're going to do garden railroading at a certain point in life, it's better if you can create a garden railroad in an elevated planter box. Because crawling around on the ground just really isn't an option at a certain point in life.
Well, advantages of building outdoors in the dirt is that you can have real life plants, and that does require a few little thought processes to go into it. Now, maybe in some climates you wouldn't need the watering systems like we do, but here in the St. George area, it gets warm in the summertime, so you have to have watering systems in place, and you have to have good drainage. So there's a combination of factors that come into it. And laying it out and planning it, because once you have a plant established, if you decide to change your railroad line, you have to think twice about before you would tear up a plant that you've been grooming for 7 or 8 years and bonsaiing, because you don't want to lose it. So hopefully you've got your track laid out, you've thought ahead where you're going to need not only your water lines, but in my case, because I'm all track power, I had to lay out all my low voltage lines and bury those. And so there is thought process that has to go into all that different aspects. And of course, planning your radius turns. What type of rails are you going to, what are you going to put on your rails? Are you going to put large locomotives? Well, if you're going to put, you got plans for a big boy, you're probably not going to have it up on an elevated railroad because of the radius that you would require. But fortunately, with my railroad, we've been able to use mainly up to 4-foot radius or 8-foot diameter is most of my track. But on the small internal line, I have a 2-foot radius, a 4-foot diameter. And all of this goes into the planning of all the elements that you're going to build on as you start. Because when you start, you got dirt.
So I guess that's one of the huge advantages here is there's really and truly is a garden railroad. It really is built on dirt.
Right.
And ours is built on wooden benchwork, just like an indoor railroad. And there are times when, boy, I wish we were building on dirt because it'd be so fun to be able to plant trees and things out here. We've got a few trees on our railroad, but they just sit in planter pots that are removable.
Right.
Same idea with the watering system and everything. But this idea of having an elevated garden this way so that you've actually created a large retaining wall to hold back the hill and then terrace the railroad right into the hill.
That is neat.
You've got to have just the right property, of course, to make that work.
Yes, which he does.
Yeah, he said when they found this place, that was one of the advantages, is it had an 8-foot high retaining wall at the back of the property. So just absolutely perfect for what they already had in mind.
It would take a special yard to do that with. Our situation, there's no way to build a terrace deal like this.
Yeah, but if you have the exact right property, and I had thought about even if you just had sort of a big level property, to come in with something like a little bobcat and dig the yard down so that the walkways are below ground level and then the railroad is still at garden level, for garden railroading. It's a thought, but
Not unless you've got new construction. Where our place has been in existence for years, that just sounds like a lot of time.
yeah. And so for us, the wooden benchwork just seemed to be the best
Yeah, it
option.
worked the best.
Well, we have one more garden railroad to look at here in St. George, and then we're going to call it a show.
Oh, man.
But so you want to see that. I hope you want to see the entire playlist here. And so if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe by clicking on the upcoming blue button. Zoink! Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring, and we will see you here on Tuesday.
Right.
We'll see ya.
We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.